I jumped off the bus with excitement. I had just completed my second day of kindergarten. I couldn't wait to tell her about the new book we read in class today. But as I opened the front door, I realized I wasn't going to be able to tell her. She was lying there on the kitchen floor, eyes closed, mouth open, and had a twitch of her leg. All of these thoughts rushing through my mind. What do I do? How do I help her? Who do I call? As I dialed the numbers to my Grandma Nini, my heart began to beat faster. It felt like at any point it could jump right out of my chest. As she raced to find the right number to call, I couldn't help but stare at her, hoping she would finally wake up. Finally, I heard the news that I needed to hear. I nearly dropped the phone out as I heard them. "Help is on the way. Just stay calm. I'm right here," said Nini. I heard the ambulance coming. They pulled in the driveway and came to the door at a jog. They came in the door and immediately started putting her on the stretcher. Trying to keep me distracted from what was just happening, they began asking me questions, but I could not answer them. I was too concerned with my mother lying there on the stretcher. The paramedic wouldn't let me ride in the ambulance to the hospital with my mother. He only let me stand there and watch as they drove to the hospital with her, leaving me behind with the paramedic holding my hand. We were waiting. As my mom's friend showed up in the driveway, I had a moment of uncertainty. I questioned whether I should act like I am happy that she was here, or just show the real concern that filled my mind. I decided that I would appear happy as I ran into her arms. We headed to the hospital where they had taken Mom. As I walked through the doors, I saw my dad. We made eye contact and almost immediately we were tangled in each other's arms. He held me tight as I cried, then pulled out one arm to hold my older sister also. We sat there and cried as we waited for news from the doctors. When the doctor came out of the patient room, we had a little bit of relief and a whole lot of worry. You see, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with her, but that she was okay now, and we could go into the room and see her. As we walked into the room, we saw a whole bunch of machines, a bunch of doctors, and the only person that we wanted to see, my mom. As we stood there crying, she just looked at us as if she did not know what to say. Unfortunately, the only words we wanted to hear never came out of her mouth. All we wanted to hear was that she was all right, and that it would remain that way. But instead, we hear her say, "They're going to keep me overnight." We snuggle up next to her in her hospital room until we hear the words that pierced our skin as they came out of Dad's mouth. He said, "Girls, we have to go. Your mother needs her rest, and you guys have school tomorrow." The last thing we were worrying about was leaving or school. As I walked out of the room, tears filled with my eyes. I didn't want to leave my mom. I wanted her to come with us. I ran back and I held onto the bedrail as if it would keep us from leaving. I was crying hysterically. She wouldn't look at me. I knew if she would look at me, she would start crying hysterically also. And I know that she doesn't want me to see her cry. Dad started to pull me away from the bed, saying, "We have to go." I began to scream, "No!" I know he felt the same pain I did, but he tried not to show it. He pulled me away. I gave my mom a hug and a kiss and stumbled out the door in tears. The doctors were right outside the door, rushing to me, asking what was wrong. I couldn't answer them. I was too upset. My dad explained to them that I was just very upset that I had to leave my mom and that I was fine. Test after test, they found the reason for the strange blackout. They called it POTS. As we saw the specialist of the disease, he explained the symptoms, the medication, the side effects, that there is no cure, and that the news would affect the lives my sister and I had forever. The doctor told us how POTS is easily passed down to children, more commonly girls than boys. They gave us the odds that 1 in 2 girls get it from their mother, and that it was very likely that one of us had it. There still is the possibility that neither of us would have it, but we would have to get our genes tested. Gene testing can be expensive, time-consuming, painful, and just stressful. Neither of us wanted to know if we had the gene, so we simply decided to wait until we were older. The possibility that we could have this disease killed us inside. I began to hate my mom. Like all of this was her fault. I can't wrap my head around the fact that I could have this disease. Since there was no one else to blame, I blamed my mom. In my eyes, it was like she did this to me on purpose. I began to lash out towards her. I would ignore her and just completely disrespect her. I acted like she wasn't a person anymore, and like she didn't have feelings. I just didn't care anymore. I was extremely mad. I guess I didn't realize that it wasn't her fault, and that she was the one who is suffering from the disease. It's not her fault, and I know that there's no way that she meant for this to happen or made it happen. The possibility of having this disease isn't anyone's fault. I have to hold it to fate. If I am meant to have this disease, then I will have it. If I'm not meant to have it, then I have to believe that I won't. Reflection. Blaming my mother for this disease that she can't control has been hard for me over the years. To think that there is a possibility for me to be able to put my future kids through the same trauma scares me. My family has had to deal with this disease for about 10 years now, and it is difficult to adjust to. I'm not sure that we have still fully adjusted after 10 years, but the fact of the matter is, I blamed my mother for having this disease that she cannot control, nor purposely pass it down to either my sister or me. I was so mean to my mom for a long time because of this, when really I shouldn't take the time that I have with her for granted, because I never know when I could have another day like the day that I have described in this essay. From this experience, I have learned to take on every day like it could be my last or someone else's, whom I love very much. It is hard to overcome things that change your life completely within a few days. Since this occurrence, I think of life like a roller coaster, because with this disease, you can have a good day or a bad day, and you won't be able to tell when you go to bed at night how your day will go tomorrow, and sometimes a day starts out good and turns out bad by the evening. It's all up and down, as a roller coaster would go. I always had to look at the disease as it could be worse. The reason I had to think like that is, technically, it could be worse. My mother could suffer from the other diseases that may not allow her to have any good days. There are worse diseases that could cause my mom and the rest of my family more pain. But I suppose if you think about it, dealing with this has made each and every one of us stronger in our own ways. So yes, POTS, it's a terrible disease that has affected my family and other families across the nation for a long time, and could possibly affect my life and my future. But I wouldn't have wanted my life to change any differently. This has made me the strong person that I am today, and has made my family grow stronger as a whole.